Hello everyone, my name is Nguyen, the SMM intern at Peerless this summer, and I'm working at Peerless for 2 months working on three main projects, and one additional project is the extrusion dies and the wastewater, but it's not investigated much and needs more research in the future. Let's talk a little bit about the overview of the presentation. I will go through the company description, the introduction to window and door production from the beginning to the final products. Then I will talk about the incentives for Peerless to change and pursue the sustainable industry in making products and reducing waste and preventing pollution. Then I will talk about the SMM, the sustainable material management and the waste management hierarchy. Lastly, I will talk about the projects, talking about what I did on the project and what I found out on the solutions and how I recommend the company making changes with a specific and numbers and for recommendations. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Peerless Products Company. Peerless is a company founded in Fort Scott, Kansas in 1952 and currently expanding to two more other locations across Kansas and Missouri. They are a high-performance aluminum window and door manufacturer that making customized windows and doors based on customer needs and requirements for high-rise, for new construction, and for historic site. And this is the video of the product demonstration about the Peerless products, windows and door. Okay, that's it. The video for window production at Peerless and installation and constructions. Now we will move to the window and door production flow at Peerless. From the beginning, the aluminum billets will be inserted into the machine at the press department to stretch out into thinner and longer aluminum profiles that will be used for making the windows and doors. After that, the profiles will be sent to the painting department where they will be coated with paint powder. Then they will be sent to the thermal department where the 24-foot vinyl strips will be cut into smaller pieces and be inserted into the aluminum profiles. After that, they will move them to the saw departments where they will do other cuttings process and trimmings before assembling them into like a final product and install the glass. After that, it will go through the testing process, labeling, packaging, and finally is shipping. Here is the picture you can see is the windows at the Fort Scott facility. I will talk about the incentives for Peerless to make changes and pursuing a long-term sustainable industry and to become a competitor in window making market. Peerless always focuses on building a sustainable industry that they investigate and implement solutions to reduce waste and prevent pollution. They also won a Green Award from the US Glass for their effort in protecting the environment. Let's talk about the Sustainable Materials Management, SMM. SMM including the project that help the company to use better materials better. It including reducing, recycling, and reusing. SMM projects help the industry to reduce waste and prevent pollution, protect the environment while increasing the efficiencies and making extra financial savings. I will talk about the waste management hierarchy. For the pollution prevention, it will go from the source reduction to reuse, recycling, and to other treatment, and finally the last option is disposal, sending the waste to the landfill. Here is the table of my project summary. I have three main projects this summer is recycling vinyl scrap, using plastic block pallets instead of wooden pallets, and increasing the transfer efficiency for paint coating. And another project is reducing the extrusion dyes and the wastewater at the press department. But this project is not investigated and needs more research in the future as required by the company. Okay, for each process with the most recommendation, it will have the following environmental, social, and economic impacts, including the greenhouse gas emissions, the annual savings, the energy waste, the labor hours, and for the three main projects, I have worked on research and have recommendations for that. And however, the last project you need more research in the future. Let's start with the vinyl scrap. At Peerless, They only ordered the 24-foot vinyl strips. In the past, they used to order vinyl strips with many different sizes. However, it's not effectively because employees have spent more time on categorizing them and storing them. So now they only order the 24-foot vinyl strips. They use the vinyl strips and cut it down into shorter lengths and throw the leftover. The vinyl scrap comes from two main sources, including the initial cutting and other trimming process. After that, the vinyl waste will be transferred to the landfill. With this amount of vinyl waste, the annual vinyl waste for a year at Peerless is 27.88 US tons, and it costs for the material loss of $170,000 for a year. And with the 0.56 metric ton of CO2 emissions for a year with the energy waste of 7.48 million BTU. And this is a hopper of the vinyl scrap at Peerless. For the solution for the vinyl scrap, I have three main solutions. Is process optimization, that Peerless can make many different hoppers with different compartments, and they can categorize the vinyl leftovers based on their sizes and store them for future use. Peerless can calculate like what kind of vinyl strips they should keep and for how long they should keep before throwing them away based on the customer orders and some reports on purchasing. And the next solution is recycling, that Peerless can sell their vinyl strips to the recycling companies, and currently they are working with Ngoc, which is also their vendor that provide the vinyl strips for them for now. They're working on solving some problems such as the transportation and requirements for the vinyl strips to be recycled and some method on transportation. With these solutions to be implemented, for the optimization, for every 1% of the vinyl waste to be used, they will save over $10,000 for a year. And for recycling, it will save $33,000 for a year. However, it's also challenging to recycle the vinyl strips because it may contain the other chemicals in them, other impurities. So Peerless have to work on that to keep the vinyl strips to be clean and separated from other chemicals, other stuff. For the wooden pallets, at Peerless, because all of the windows and doors are customized, so the pallets for handling them are also customized, and that's why all the pallets at Peerless are single use. And for that reason, they don't need so much durable and so much strong pallets. With that amount of wooden pallet waste, it will create 526,000 pounds of wooden waste from 6,500 pallets for a year, which costs the company for $486,000 for a year, with 243 metric tons of CO2 emission. and the energy waste is 70 million BTU. For the solutions for the wooden pallets, the first solution is using the alternative materials like paper, plastic, and foam. And the most recommended solution is using the paper pallets because they are lighter and even cheaper. Because all the pallets are single use, so it's not recommended to use the plastic or the foam pallets because they are more expensive than the wooden pallets and will cost the company more. The second solution is using the plastic block pallets. This is also the most recommended solution because this plastic block pallets is reusable and very strong and durable. They can assemble many plastic blocks together to make any different sizes of the pallets, and it can also help them to handle any certain situations or small orders. The next solution is recycling. They can contact to some recycling companies, and some company allows to buy the pallets with the cost ranging from $1 to $4 for each pallet. For the $4, going to be like the pallets in the best conditions with no damage, and also with the standard sizes. However, appears the pallets are customized, so it's really to have that price, and the pallets appear for selling to the recycling companies will cost about $1 to $2 for each. And the last solution is repurposing the pallets. For example, making the animal beds or using as a fuel for biomass combustion system. With those solutions to be implemented by Peerless, it can have the following environmental, economic, and social impacts. For using the plastic block pallets, it can create $442,000 of annual savings, and for using the corrugated paper pallets, it will create over $300,000 for a year of savings. And for the greenhouse gas emission, it will be 0.02 metric tons and 8.56 metric tons accordingly. For the energy waste, is a 0.22 million BTU and 9.83 million BTU accordingly. And for the labor hours, is 1 hour and 35 hours accordingly, using plastic block pallets or using the corrugated paper pallets. For the last main project, it is painting powder. At Peerless, they use the reclaimed painting system to coat the metal frames. They use two main types of the paint powders, including the AAMA 2604 and AAMA 2605, and they are repelled to each other. That's why the mixture of them will be treated like waste. And the powder waste comes from two main sources, including the big waste bag, and the expired powder that they don't even use, and they throw away a lot every year. And this is the pie chart of the paint powder proportion. With this to be seen, the transfer efficiency for coating the metal frames at Peerless for now is around 72%, which is already high, but we can do some changing in the techniques and equipment to even increase them to higher transfer efficiency. With that amount of waste, It will create the annual waste of 35,000 pounds of powder waste for a year, with the total cost of loss is $550,000 for a year, with 0.36 metric tons of CO2 emission and 473 million BTU. For the solutions, the first solution is scheduling and optimization. The company should have some apps for managing the paint powder uses, and employees should have some kinds of communications to reduce the amount of powder to be expired. And they should frequently change the schedule every week or even every day in changing this type of powder to the other type of powder to reducing the mixture of them and also throwing the expired powder. The second solution is reusing or recycling paint powder. They can reclaim the powder and reuse them, or even use to paint other materials in the companies so they can save the money on purchasing the paint for those materials. The next solution is repurposing. They can reformulate the paint powder or add some other chemicals to make them become plastic parts or non-cosmetic components or added to cement or sound-canceling products. The last solution, and also the most recommended solution, is increasing the transfer efficiency by improving the equipment or changing the techniques. For this recommendation to be practiced, it will save $196,000 if we improving the transfer efficiency from 72% to 85%, and for scheduling, for every 10% of the powder to be saved from throwing away due to expiration, they will save $12,000 for a year. Another project is the extrusion dies and the wastewater at the press department. The extrusion dies are cleaned using the sodium hydroxide and sodium bisulfate, and the solid chemical waste will be packed in the box and sent to the landfill, and the solution waste will be sent to the sewer, and the extrusion dies with major damage will also be sent to be recycled. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.